Dark entities, dark ETs, oh my, and we don't need to be scared. I spent a lot of time in different parts of my journey not believing in any of this. This is something that actually I didn't want to talk about for a while. The fear of being judged, the fear of, oh my gosh, again, there's that crazy woman and she's talking about dark entities and she's talking about ETs. This is a very important conversation to have. And again, we often don't believe in what we cannot see. But why we often can't see it is because it's at a different frequency and a different vibration than what we experience in the 3D world. So we're going to get into this conversation. I do want to tell everyone that we're doing a little mini energetic healing while everyone is listening to this. So I've already started moving energy, and what we're doing right now is we are actually clearing some entities as I talk. So if you do not want to do that, you either say you have your own sovereignty, you say you don't give permission, or you can jump off the video. I'm going to look a little bit sometimes at my computer because last night I did a live and I talked for an hour. And when I don't have notes or like something just to look back at, sometimes I go overboard. So that's what I'm doing when I'm looking over. And also I have a little French bulldog. He snores. So whenever you hear background noise, that's usually what it is. So what are entities? What are dark entities? Entities are energetic beings that don't have a physical body, but they can interact with or attach to humans. And these include lost souls. So many of them can be lost souls. Interdimensional beings. You've heard me talk about multidimensional health codes. So interdimensional beings. Dark force energies, and those are often referred to as demons. ETs and extraterrestrials, and there is a difference here. There is a difference between, a slight difference, between dark ETs or lower vibration ETs, extraterrestrials, and then also thought forms. And there's different ways that this can happen, that thought forms can also be entities. Now, not everything, but many things are entities. I'm an entity. It depends on your definition of entity. I'm an entity, my dog's an entity, but we are talking about lower vibration. Experts in entity clearing and deposition estimate that up to 85% of the population may have some form of entity attachment or influence without even knowing it. There is no blame or shame in this. We are not negative, we are not bad, and we are not broken. It's just part of the spiritual world. So, and this is just how, I'm going to say how I feel about this for a minute, but, entity attachment is more common than we think, and being informed is the first step in clearing it. When I first started this journey of the dark entity piece, I was in a lot of fear. And that is not the purpose of this live at all. It's the purpose to help better inform or bring some awareness to something that I see often. And let's get into some common signs of entity attachment or influence. Constant coldness or feeling like you can't get warm. I've had that for a long time. I don't have it anymore. Ongoing fatigue or lack of energy. And I'm not talking about just like little, so focus on the word ongoing or lack of energy. intense negative emotions that feel all consuming. Now, this is part of the work that I do. I mean, yes, the Galactics, and that's my dream and mission, and Starseeds Unite. And this is part of what I do. And I'll talk more about that. Just, I'm a big component that as we are raising our vibration, as we are stepping into spiritual gifts, as we are spiritually awakening, that this is an important part to be informed about. And that's just my experience. If other people feel differently, then that's okay. Feeling altered, spacey, or mentally unclear. So I want to go back to the intense negative emotions that feel all-consuming. One of my diagnoses, and if you've heard me talk, you know how I feel about diagnoses, but was post-traumatic stress disorder, disassociation, and all those type of pieces as far as mental. I thought for a long time that my emotions were because of my past trauma. And I'm not saying that that can't be truth and that there's not truth in that. As I delve deeper into this body of really just, I wanted to say work, but my experience, I really started noticing, and especially as an energy healer, that and so now today, this is not something that happens often, but when you are working, so if I have any healers out there, when you are working with others, if you're doing some energetic work and then you feel a drop in your vibration, that can be, and I'm not saying for sure, I'm not giving 100% positive on anything, I'm just sharing my experience, that it can be a lower vibration or dark entity attaching to you or coming in your field. And what that has to do with the mental piece or the emotions, the lower vibration emotions, which are not bad. You know, we want to befriend our emotions. We want to welcome our emotions. We want to love ourselves where we're at. So please don't mistake what I'm saying as that we want to shame our feelings or not have them. It's in the awareness that what I've really seen is often, and especially when I didn't have awareness around all this, I would think that when I would get really sad, or the grief or the trauma around my family, around different pieces, and you might have heard me talk about often we can think that we're in our own energy, but we're really not in our own energy, and this is part of it. That what I will feel when there is an entity, not necessarily as much close anymore, but that comes in and attaches, or that, and today it's just like, then you just clear it. And that's why we don't have to be scared. But when that happens, it's this and it can look different for different people, but it's this excess of emotions that comes, and they're not positive emotions. They're blaming a lot of intense, like over excess of different emotions that are really uncomfortable. It can look like a lot of sadness and all of the things, which really I thought was because of an event. Like, I'm going to point my finger at this event and this is why I have all these emotions, when really it's just a dark entity that's come into play. Okay, back to the list. Anxiety or panic attacks, depression or mood swings, obsessive or intrusive thoughts, relationship issues or unexplained conflict, and many entities there's a huge generational piece with this, clearing them through our bloodlines and our generations and our families. Poor memory, mental fog or trouble concentrating, unexplained illness or physical pain, suicidal thoughts. Red flag, red flag. When I hear stuff like that, and I have had suicidal moments, so and that was a long time ago, but there's no judgment on that piece, or when I hear like some really sad events happening in the world, I'm like, dark entities, hearing voices or experiencing hallucinations, insomnia or restless sleep. So they can come through in our sleep realms. Astral travel, I'm not saying that's happening during everyone's astral travel. I'm saying that this is something to be aware of. Unusual fears, phobias, or obsessive behaviors, skin sensations. And what I mean by that is like bugs crawling or vibrations in the body. So I felt for a long time sort of buzzy. Addictions or compulsive behaviors and eating disorders. Feeling watched or touched when alone, when no one's around. How and why do entities attach? When a physical body dies, the soul usually transitions into the light. But if something prevents that transition, trauma, confusion, or fear, and we can learn how to help take these souls and heal them and return them to the light or move them to their next stage of evolution. But if trauma, confusion, or fear, then that spirit can remain earthbound and seek out human hosts. They're like, oh, a light, let me go to that light, let me go somewhere else, because they're lost. Now, that's not the case for everything. There are hierarchies of dark entities. You know, I talked about the demons. There's darkness of the dark, and there's fallen angels. But there's also this place with the souls. Human emit energy, and that energy can feed entities. So we emit energy, and that can sort of feed them. And again, this is not in a way that we need to fear. They often attach to feed off our emotional and physical energy, especially when our vibration is low. So this is the importance of raising our vibration, and not in a hyper-vigilant way. There are many times that maybe we just need to rest or whatever. And as I'll speak for myself, as I become aware of energy, what's mine, what's not mine, and really dive into this piece, that we can feel, and it's like a practice. You train and you feel when is a time of like, oh, this is a time I need to rest, but oh no, this is actually a dark entity, let me clear that. When and where entity attachments happen, times of grief, stress, trauma, or heartbreak, and I'm not saying for everyone, and some people are more vulnerable to entity attachment than others. We may unknowingly open ourselves to entities during also alcohol or drug use. And I am recovered, so again, no shame or judgment on that piece. Surgery or anesthesia, what happens is our energetic boundaries drop during these times. Illness, when our body or aura is weakened. Spiritual exploration without proper protection. And this is why I'm big on these pieces of learning things around all this, because any type of spiritual awakening, spiritual exploration, and right here in my notes it says like Ouija boards or ungrounded magic, but really as we start to ascend and raise, and our whole planet is going through an ascension right now, that it opens up. You know, you might have heard people talk about the veil is thin. It opens up more and more. And this goes into the whole starseed ET conversation. I'm not going to talk as much about that tonight, but I did a video last night, which is in the group. Okay, so living in low vibrational or chaotic family environments, residing in haunted spaces, generational influences, entities passed down through ancestral lines. And I know I cleared a lot of that in my family. And part of that piece, because I'm a starseed, my children are starseeds. I did not know this for a long time, but now I do. And there are also pieces with other family members generationally that we have a line that is strongly connected to what I call the galactics, that there was lower vibration or dark extraterrestrials that were affecting our family line, and to go through generationally and clear that. So those are just some, it's not just negative that that attracts them. We can also attract them. Sometimes I am not giving I don't like black and white answers, like this is for sure what's happening. But when we are carrying a high spiritual potential, entities may be sent to suppress our light, keeping us from fulfilling our soul's purpose. And this was part of my story. So in some cases, dark forces, entities follow specific orders from higher level dark energies whose goal is to cause suffering, illness, chaos, and ultimately hopelessness. Suicide is considered the ultimate win in this distorted structure. And again, I talked about this the other day somewhere, but like if I see on the news, I don't really watch the news a lot, but if I hear about a school shooting, that is a place. And this is so cool, not that it's happening, but that we are able to heal these things. Part of what I show others is how to clear a building, we can clear a school, we can perform that kind of healing on these type of things. And I know that's not right for everyone. I know it takes a village, and I know for every healer out there, that's not where they want to go with things. Actually, I know a lot of healers. But this also goes into the soul mission conversation, because some of us, it can be part of our soul mission as we heal and clear and our vibration raises. What starts to really shine in is our soul missions. And so some of us are going to have soul missions around this. Not everyone, but some of us. Entity removal is deeply healing. Through dark energy clearing, we can release entities of all types, their energetic residue, their influences on our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. It is amazing that when I go in and clear, or used to clear more on myself, I would just feel this change in emotions immediately. And any attachments or energetic openings that remain. And I do want to talk about that there is an importance for, and it's not just portals, but I'm going to talk about portals here in this segment, that portals can really, there are these openings that can open up to entities. So if portals are being opened willy-nilly, then, which can happen for some people more naturally and we don't even know it's happening, then this can open up to also entities. And there are things sometimes that we're doing that we don't realize we're doing on our spiritual journeys, that it's like opening up. Now, I would not take back what I do, what I've opened up to, for anything in this world. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps and I want to cry. My life before this was a living nightmare. So all those entities were already present. It's not that I started a spiritual journey, for lack of a better word. I just don't have a better word right now, or an awakening, or a transcending, or other words that an ascension. Like, my life is so beautiful because of those things, and I'm so grateful. And this is just a piece of the puzzle, a tool in our toolbox to really bring awareness to these pieces that can be happening. And I want to say, for everyone that has joined, I am doing a little bit of an entity clearing right now. So everyone listening to the replay, or everyone listening right now, that is happening. Now, what often happens is that we can have a little, I teach others how to do entity clearing and protocols and all that, not only for themselves, but for their loved ones or their environments as well. Entities can also come in through devices. So we're on devices right now, phones, computers, all of that. But sometimes we might feel, and I've had people say to me, well, I feel like I'm always clearing entities. We can stay in that space, but we don't have to. We don't have to live a life that we feel like we're always clearing entities. We can transcend out of that place. And if that is happening for you, I will welcome jumping on a phone call with anyone, messenger call at any point in time to talk about this. And if we feel, and I want to say I have a free Galactic Awakening event coming up. It's going to be in about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So if you want to come to the free Galactic Awakening event, it's going to be about star seeds and galactic awakening and connecting to the cosmos. But this is part of the conversation. So if you want to come to that, just type Galactic in the comments and get you the information for that. But this is really I forgot where I was going with all that. So let me just redirect my brain that this is an important conversation. And I want to talk a little bit, with that being said, about ET, dark entities. How they are different, in my experience, is yes, it can be all the same realm, but there's some nuances that can happen there. For one, they really are on a very different energetic frequency. And because, well, all of this is, but because I, through my multidimensional lives, have, and I believe this is happening for more people than we think it is. I think people just aren't aware of it because we haven't become aware of it. We haven't awakened to it yet. But it really is this piece, and it goes with the starseed piece, that when we are waking all that up within us, that we want to be aware of this as well. Some people are going to start becoming healers or activating their star seed or read a book to do all that. And I don't recommend just doing it with just a book, any of it. Channeling, mediumship, psychic abilities. And I know that can be fun. I love reading books and doing those things too. But what it does is it starts to open up those layers that are already present. They're already present and they're already activating in our lives. It's just that they can unfold them. And when that happens, then we're opening ourselves up, these other energies. So without learning at the same time that we are on this ascension process how to work with these things, then we are sort of left in this place of maybe feeling, I know what I was going to say, feeling like, okay, I did some entity clearing, we're doing it right now, but I don't really feel better, Marilee. And that, or if someone tells me that they're continuing to have to clear entities, what I have to say there is there's either a piece missing within how they're clearing them. There might be a galactic piece missing, and or there's a piece, layers, maybe one layer, maybe a bunch of layers under that have not healed, for lack of a better word. They're also, not everything is about clearing and healing all the time. There can also be positive energies that maybe have not been brought in, that you might not have, of why that is not sticking for you, why your shielding is not sticking, why your boundaries are not sticking, because all that's part of the entity conversation, why you're feeling like maybe clearing is not working. We can and do and will get to a place of complete freedom and sovereignty from this, and having an awareness as healers or people on a spiritually awakening path, which we all have that. No one's more special than the next person. Like, we all have this, and that's part of the Starseed conversation. We all have these amazing gifts and capabilities, and it's just bringing them out into the light, that's all. But it's just that if those pieces are happening, there's just something that maybe needs a little more close look at to unfold those layers. And with that being said, we are doing a mini little entity clearing right now if anyone has joined. So I wanted to get on here and talk about this. I told my friend I was going to do that. And the ET part, that if we do have starseed origins, which I believe many of us have starseed souls, and they are there, and they are very real and awake and alive, and the ET conversation right here on this earth today is very awake and alive and here, and we're going to talk about that in the Galactic Awakening experience. And when we have that, there's going to also not just be the dark entity piece as far as like ghosts and demons and fallen angels, but this piece of the ETs as well. Because there are the high vibration ETs and there are the lower vibration ETs. And this is something I also didn't talk about for a long time, but I am a survivor of an ET abduction when I was a little girl. Actually, near where I live now, there was a spaceship under our home, and that all happened. And so to be able to talk about that, to be able to come into a state of really loving all beings, and that all beings really just want to go to the light. They just might not know. Some, I take that back. Maybe not all beings want to go to the light. Some of them don't, but that doesn't mean that they need to be with us. They can go somewhere else and go be in the dark where they want to be. So it really is that we don't need to live in fear. We can really help to heal this world and shine a light on these things. And as we do this, release them to be with the light as well, or to go somewhere where they can be, in another realm. And those are just my words. We can be free is basically, I think, what I'm trying to say. And even though I've experienced some things with some lower vibration, that's not the only lower vibration thing that I've experienced. And I did feel really suicidal, really sad, really depressed. So I know that place, and I want to give others hope that we don't need to stay there. I don't care what your mental diagnosis is. I don't care what your physical diagnoses are. Like, we really can heal. And I'm not saying that we're going to live in a perfect world and that there's, like, it's not like that, but we really can heal. So that's all I have now. If anyone has questions, please reach out to me. And I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening or day wherever you are.